2018. This is the regular board meeting of the Village of Pulaski, Pulaski, Village Hall, 585 East Glenview Drive, Pulaski, Wisconsin. We have roll call and pledge.
Bruce Birchkowski.
Present.
Roger Birchkowski.
Present.
Robert Gajewski.
Here.
Doug Prentice.
Present.
Chris Smith.
Here.
Robert Van Lennon.
Here.
And Reed Woodward.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
By Chris,
I'll second.
second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 3 is to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of March 5th, 2018. Can I dispense with the reading?
I want to get motion.
Bob Van Lennon,
I'll second.
Doug, the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, consider approval to hire part-time police officers Justin M. Hoffman and Paige A. Lehman. Chief?
Yes, they both met the requirements necessary for a police officer for the Village of Pulaski, and they went through a candidate process, and they're my top selection candidates, and we'd like to welcome both Paige and Justin to the Village of Pulaski for the police department for position of police officer.
They'll be starting out part-time, Mark?
Correct.
We need a motion.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the hiring
So move.
by Roger,
I'll second it.
seconded by Doug. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We'd like to have you come up front for swearing in.
Okay, if you could please raise your right hand. Justin M. Hoffman and Paige A. Lemon, you have been appointed to the office of part-time police officers for the Village of Pulaski. Do you swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of your said office to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations. And I need your signatures.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hey, welcome.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Justin, I have a document for you to sign.
Sure.
Here, and then you'll make copies. I'll give them to the chief.
Okay. Can you do this one?
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Paige.
Welcome. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Here's your card.
To the families of the new officers, we welcome you here. I'm glad you were here to see this. You're invited to stay for the whole meeting if you wish. Okay, number 6 is to open bids received for Tinlin's old 2009 Crown Victoria Squad. Mark's got the bids.
He took off on you.
And he took off.
Oh, is that the bids right there?
Yeah.
Can somebody else open them? Can Joel open them?
I'll let Jody.
Can I keep my eyes open?
Right?
Go ahead.
No letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I did write down their names, but there's one envelope that it didn't have a name on, it just has a bid, so that you'll have to read those off. I'll write them down there.
That's from who?
This one looks to be Aaron J. Collier. And placing a bid of $1,400 for the 2009 Ford Crown Vic. With this bid, you'll find $100 deposit enclosed. He's got his phone number.
1,400.
1,400 even. Steve Frank, bid is $1,150.51.
1150.51.
1150.51.
What was this one?
Okay, I'll say it.
It's a Casey Weed, W-I-E-D, 1,375.
1375.
Yep.
At the end there.
We have one for Jed Silveski, 1,501.
1501.
Yep.
Jed Slazewski.
Yep, and then I have one here that came FedEx, so
Well,
it's from a taxi cab company,
College kid? Or a
Yeah,
high
he's
school
he's
kid?
got one already.
Chicago Motors. $1,207.
Okay, so the high bid is going to be Jed Slazewski, $1,501. The next one would be Casey Weed, or no, Aaron Collier, $1,400.
I'll make a motion that we approve the highest bid.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 8, persons desiring to be heard. Could stand up and state your name and your address.
My name is Chelsea Dushinsky from 640 South St. Augustine, Pulaski. We just moved here and we were instructed to come in. We moved here with the 3 dogs, so we're applying for an exception to the 2-dog limit. I do have a letter from our neighbors stating that they are fine with us having a 3rd dog. We'll be fencing their yard as well to make sure that they stay contained in that area.
Could you bring your documentation forward, please?
Absolutely.
Welcome to the community.
Well, thank you. So, I guess right up, I have the letter on top as well as the application for registration for them, and then all of their vaccination records as well.
Okay.
What is your address? Address again?
640 South St. Augustine.
South St. Augustine. Okay. The 3 dogs, what breeds are they?
We have a Dalmatian, we have a Collie mix, and then we have a Borzoi, which is
A what?
we get it a lot. A Borzoi, it's a St. Hound, kind of like a Greyhound, but they're big and hairy.
Kind of a lot easier to say Greyhound.
Yeah.
Right?
You do have a fenced-in yard, you said?
We do not yet.
Yeah, okay.
We are getting in that hopefully before June. We've already got the estimates in. We've put the down payment on it. We just have to wait for the ground to
Yeah.
thaw.
For summer, right?
Yeah, right? When we stop getting snow, we'll have a fence.
Okay. We will put this on the agenda for the board meeting next week,
Okay,
our organizational,
okay.
and we'll vote on it.
Of the neighbors that you've approached, are they side neighbors, backyard neighbor? or-
Side neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you're in the middle of a block then?
yeah.
Joe Kine is one of the neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So kind of right across from the park?
We're right across from that park area, yeah.
This is Bernardi's house.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know
Small
where-
town, right?
You gotta say who lived there like 3
And
times
generally
ago.
speaking- And generally speaking, that just in most of the time, the permit that they give us until 1 dog is no longer with you, and then they don't allow it to continue on.
Right, and we totally understand. Our female, the Collie mix, she's like 11 years old already.
Okay.
Our Borzoi is a little younger, he's about 10 months old. And then we have one the Dalmatian's about 5, so, you know, we kind of know Sierra will pass soon or at some point, and and then we don't plan on getting any more. We did come from an area that allowed us to have 3 dogs, so coming here was like, oh, you can't have 3 dogs?
Just so that you know, the reason why we're not voting today is because we can't vote on something that isn't on the agenda.
Okay,
We can't do a motion on that, so we have to wait till the next meeting.
okay.
Can we keep your paperwork then too, or do you want a copy of it?
If I could get a copy of it at least back, but then, yeah, certainly.
I'll make a copy. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then that meeting will be next Tuesday on the 17th, and that'll be at 6 PM.
Okay, here as well?
And we'll
Okay,
place you on the agenda then.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I had one thing real quick, Rita. I had a couple of citizens concerned, were asking me about the meetings on the TV and why that's not on yet. And I kind of remember some of it, but I just need a refresher.
We've had like 3 or 4 meetings about the meetings, and all of the results is to talk about having another meeting.
So we need,
I feel that we should just buy a new DVR and take it to the school and say, would you put it on the cable for us?
so that's all that we have to do. And there's money in the budget, right? But there's,
Yeah, it's on the computer where you can get it, with the website.
Right,
with the Village of
right.
But
Pulaski.
there's too many people that rely on the cable channel to
Yeah.
get that.
so it's a matter of buying this new part. the new-
Well-
Well, you don't fix anything, you buy new.
Right.
And it's a decent, real high end is probably $200 in today's world.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to have a meeting to buy that.
Okay.
I will, with your blessings, buy one this week and take it to the school session, please.
I think that would suffice a lot of, some of the people that were concerned is when it kind of started the program and they're wondering what was going on. They know there's money taken out for it and everybody's phone bill. So that would be great. I think it would satisfy them. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, because it's something that I had it in my head, why have another meeting? Let's just do it.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Committee reports, Park Use Ad Hoc Committee, March 13th, 2018.
We had a very busy meeting. A lot of things were discussed. We've got 3 items that are up for our discussion tonight. It's right under here. But also I wanted to touch on a few things. We'll be talking about the disc golf baskets and some ideas of possibly splitting our 18-hole course, having half of it at the high school, half of it in Community Park. There is a basket or 2 that's out of commission right now, but with a little work we could put it back into commission. So the idea of having a front 9 and a back 9, and maybe being a little more visible with this golf course because of the opportunity out at the high school. Sign there saying, go ahead and visit our back 9 at the community park. Might be a little bit easier for upkeep, might be a little bit prettier course, a little more challenging if we can use a little more strategy through the woods and around the ponds and everything. So that's something we'll be voting on tonight. The batting cages at Veterans Memorial Park. We're working with NWTC the first week of August, and we'll be 2 batting cages getting replaced and 2 additional for a total of 6. The Reds will be donating this cost. Nate Watruba, who is the president of Pulaski Baseball Incorporated, is requesting that the village allocate their time and help with this process. And I'm thinking that should fit right into our schedule, right, Joel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pat McDermott's going to be fundraising to build another building, an overhang at the Reds Diamond. A little bit of rain here and there are keeping us out of the sun when we're there watching ball. So that project might even happen this summer with the fundraising efforts. The bleachers at the Reds Diamond, or do we call it McDermott Field, or whatever it is, or whatever we address it as, but We've got a bit of a liability issue in that it doesn't have any handrails on the sides. Some of these bleachers that are being put up today have handrails even in the middle, make it a little more accessible for getting up and down, especially with the kids playing and older clientele coming, just make it a little bit safer if they're getting around.
Everything's enclosed as far as the steps.
Yeah. So hopefully we're going further with that discussion. Of course, we don't want to see anybody hurt there, so. Baseball and softball will be putting another $30,000 approximately into the fields at Veterans Memorial Park again this year. So it's just amazing what they've done with the improvements in the soil and the mounding and everything else they've done. Our restrooms at Veterans Memorial Park are in need of new shingles, a new roof. I know we were working with the high school a little bit.
Yep, they reached out. We're gonna take a look at it this Friday. There is a group from the high school headed up by their tech ed that is willing to donate their time as long as we provide the materials, and they will tackle it themselves.
What a great opportunity for some young people to see the actual work, and especially on a smaller project like that. So we're excited about that. The Polka Grounds buildings also need a little bit of work on the roofs. So I know Joey was meeting with James
That did happen.
Stachinski. Okay. Something we can take care of, or?
For the time being, but we did get prices, to redo it, and it's just, the facility, the building isn't worth how much it's gonna cost to put a new roof on
Right.
each and every one of them.
Like lipstick on a
Yes.
pig?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess we need to continue with these discussions, but we probably have enough.
James and I talked about it. He said he'd be willing, as part of the Polka Days, to go to them to get half,
Okay,
to split it halfway to get it repaired.
awesome.
So down the road, it's probably gonna have to be totally replaced probably.
Something to look at, yes.
Okay.
You gotta understand that none of that stuff in the Polka Grounds is on our building inventories. They're not our buildings.
I know
We
the
don't-
bathroom
we don't-
was,
we
but
don't-
that was it.
That was it. That's the only thing we did own. And the storm took care of that.
If we're putting a bunch of money in them, we'd probably want to see that we do something to insure them, or, well, depending on how much money is going into them. But,
But, I've never been aware of that being, the village's buildings.
okay.
Whose buildings are they? If it's on the Polka Grounds, and does that belong to the church yet then?
They tore down the church building a long time ago.
Yeah,
Well, the dance hall, yes.
Yes.
But the stands,
We insure them.
we insure them.
the rustic feel of Polka Days.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. We'll put that on next,
Okay.
the next week's meeting. That's actually, I don't know how to resolve, who owns what.
Right. We're going to talk about, our second consideration is the easement to bring some permanent power out to Community Park, where our temporary campgrounds and possibly a permanent campground, or the start of a permanent campground. It's part of the grant process that the Polka Days committee or organization is applying for grant money, which we would have to allow easement in part of that grant process in order for that grant to be considered. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Joel has applied for a grant regarding replacing the bridge at Shippey Park. And some ideas, we've seen some pictures, they look beautiful, kind of a covered bridge, and Shippey Park, nice peaceful atmosphere, I think.
And we'll bring that next week as well.
Awesome. Mark Heck had mentioned that the music in the park, they'd like to see it stay at Memorial Park. They had a lot more people, being that the parking facility is there. We can house more vehicles parking there, and when it was at Shippey Park, you park on the street and you walk a half a mile to get there. You might have been better off walking from home in some cases. So they're recommending that we allow it to still happen at Memorial Park, and I see that as a good fit.
And of course, the bathroom.
The bathroom, and in climate weather, having the overhang they would set up in the new pavilion and play to the folks out in the park from underneath, so the equipment and the instruments don't get damaged by any rain or whatever. And then the last thing we're going to discuss tonight, possibility of switching the ice rink from Community Park, bring it back here to Veterans Memorial Park, and bring the bike course from Memorial Park back to the community, or to the Community Park. I can remember as a kid in high school, that ice rink would be full every night after school. There's a light in both places, but it's kind of out there in the middle of nowhere at Community Park, and usership, I've seen a few kids playing. I've done it myself with my kids, but there isn't really much of a break from the wind and the cold. I think Memorial Park's a little more suiting for that, and the recommendation from our committee was to do exactly that. So I think that's touches. It was a long meeting, but we had a lot of really great discussion. So now back to you, Reed. Do you go through the?
I think we should all vote on the A, B, and C.
Okay. So the first one being moving 9 of our disc golf baskets to the high school. This was an ask from Care Goodness. He works over at the high school and the middle school and at our grade schools as well. They have a unit where they actually would like to use something like this. If they go out and purchase their own, it's going to be quite a hindrance on their budget. But they thought, if we've got 18 and we're not using all 18, and the upkeep of that course. I guess do you ask for a vote or a recommendation?
Somebody make a motion to approve that transfer.
I'll make that motion
Chris?
to approve that. 9 go to the high school.
Second by
I'll
Roger.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. B, consider approve to sign the distribution easement agreement for power at Community Park Campground with We Energies, providing the grant is approved. They won't do anything without a written release.
The way I understand it is, if we allowed this easement or approved this easement and we didn't like the final recommendation, we'd still have an opportunity to say,
Yeah.
So
this
does it come
doesn't
back
fit
to
our
the-
scope.
Does it come back to the Parks Committee to say, hey, to review it before we vote on it?
I don't
Well,
know.
this is, we will commit to the easement. And the final design
Okay,
is
design,
Another,
is another matter.
okay.
easement versus design, okay. I like it.
Easement is there's not money involved in
No,
that.
there's not,
is there?
it's no cost to us, but the
Underground,
We Energies will not do anything without a written easement, so.
And the grant is being applied for by the Polka Day Committee.
Yes, the Polka Days.
And are they expecting something, well, of course, that'll enhance Polka Days, obviously, and we're all for that. But is there any type of an agreement between the village and Polka Days?
There will have to be a written agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the first step of many.
Yes.
they said they were applying for the complete funding, 100% grant. I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but that's what they were applying for.
But in reality, they're spending about $16,000 a year to rent generators to run the campground. And the anticipated cost to put in enough for 100 trailers is about $36,000. And with the revenue that they've got a 10-year history of filling the campground, it's not much of a, sticking your neck out.
Yeah. So maybe if that were an opportunity for them,
And quite
they'd
frankly,
be able to
it's a
finance,
5-year payback.
finance it on their own, and hopefully they wouldn't expect us to put money down for
Well, in
this.
all fairness to them also, they are pursuing this, so I give them credit.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly for that.
It actually took us 2 years to get to this.
Well, yeah.
So,
Along our fence behind the KC building, there's some overhead poles that already exist, and they'd use that, and I think that's where I'd picture if we did have a permanent type campground, this is where the camping is. And in the summers past, when we've had people stopping in,
Yeah,
this is
that's
where
where
they
they-
preferred to park, and if we could offer power, I think that would be a good thing for that opportunity.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
by Bruce,
I'll second.
seconded by Bob Kieski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. C, to consider approval to move the ice skating rink back to Veterans Memorial Park and move the bicycle course over to the community park. That's a place that would be usually agreed on by the Park Use Committee and Joel Van Lannen.
I'll make that motion.
I guess to touch on it a little bit, it seems like most ice rink now are going to an elevated ice rink and not a hole, because in the summertime, that's exactly what you
You got a
get,
hole.
Mud.
mud.
Mosquitoes.
Yep, so if we go through with this, we're gonna lift it up, drain it off better, and eliminate that hole.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd say that.
How many months more of ice skating do we have this year?
It's looking quite a bit.
May first
Better
or
bite your tongue over there.
Okay, we have a motion by Chris.
I'll second.
Second by Bob Kieski. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Reed,
thank you.
before you move on,
Yes.
I guess maybe I'll ask the Parks Committee, just reading your minutes over, Mark had held a discussion on his opinion regarding park rentals, and Bruce and I discussed this a little bit with another individual, a business in Pulaski, and about how the village is managing the parks and what have you. Are you getting more negative response from people?
In the meeting specifically, we did have hurt feelings or disappointment in us, I guess, that we made that decision to help the budget at that point,
Yeah.
rather than having it an option that they could discuss. And it was specifically about moving the $5 non-village resident fee to $10. It didn't seem that we had too much pushback on the $100 overall per day rental fee, but the $5 to $10 for non-resident fee.